From the 7,000 who were qualified, you 7 have been selected for the longest and greatest space mission in the history of humanity.
Welcome to the Metal Voice. Today on the show, once again, you got it, Blaze Bayley. Blaze, what's happening, man?
Well, it's great to be again on the Metal Voice.
Okay, 4 topics today. The new album, where we're at. Number 2, the Canadian Entanglement Tour and documentary. Number 3, the Trinity Tour. We'll talk a little bit about that, and I got a lot of fan questions. So let's really make this interactive, all right?
Okay.
All right, let's start off with the new album. All right, Part 1 was released last year. Part 2 is slated to be released, I'm assuming, March 2017, from what I'm reading. Can you tell us briefly about the first album, the story, and how it connects? And I know you don't want to give it away, but just an overall summary of where the second album is going.
So the first album is the story of the main character, William Black, and him going on a mission into deep space to visit Kepler planet, and how he does that. He is supposedly got to wear a special suit which is actually physically attached to his body like armor, and what he finds out is, on the first album, he finds out that, in fact, this is not a suit, that he has a machine body and his human consciousness has been downloaded into a machine body. And he then has to decide for himself, what is it to be human? And can you be a machine and call yourself human? And these are all the questions he decides. And the second and third parts of the album, they take place closer to the Kepler planet. So he's arriving on the Kepler planet, and it's what happens there. I can't give too much away, but 1,000 years have passed. One of the songs on the Infinite Entanglement album is I Will Live for 1,000 years, and we are at the end of that 1,000 years as we come into the second album. So hopefully that's not giving too much away and people will still be interested.
It sounds like a fascinating story, and I know that you're working on a book, right? I mean, to tie it all in at the end. Can you just briefly tell us about that?
Yeah, the book is going on alongside the album. And all of the ideas for the songs, the lyrics for the songs, the characters that you see, the things that narrator says, all that comes from the book that I'm writing. It's a science fiction story. And what will happen, I hope, that after that third album, when that book comes out, when that's finished, then you'll be able to look at the songs, 30 or so songs, and see what order they're in, and see what the characters are that the songs are about, and make the journey complete, really. And of course, there are things in the book that just aren't on the album, on any of the albums. So it's exciting. It's really difficult to write the book because you have to be in that headspace. So I need quite a few hours to get myself in the space of writing the book. And that's a different space to making the music for the album. So I think I'm going to ask my manager for a chunk of time at the end of 2018 to finish writing the book.
Topic number 2, the Canadian Entanglement Tour plus documentary. All right, so you got September 21 in Ottawa, September 22 in Shawinigan, September 23 in Quebec City, and September 24th in Montreal, Canada. 4 dates, mostly on the eastern part of Canada. And what we're doing is we're doing a on-the-road, online documentary, sort of capturing Blaze behind the scenes as he I mean, hopefully we can pull this off. I'm just saying we're going to do the best we can to follow you and it's starting in the UK, and it's going to go into Canada, and hopefully this turns out, really interesting for your fans and the viewers out there. Thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of people ask me, they can't believe I moved so fast. One day I'm in Seattle and the next day I'm in Cardiff, in Wales, and people think I'm still in Seattle, or they think I'm still in Brazil or something like this. So they don't really understand how it works. To be honest, I don't really understand how I get from place to place. It's a mystery to me.
That's why we've got to document it.
My manager sends me a few emails, which I'll show you in the documentary when we film the next part. I'll show you. I get the emails, I print them off, I look at where I have to go, and then I'm like some kind of dummy or automaton. I go there with a piece of paper, show it to someone at a desk, they put me on a plane. That's how it goes.
You're Mr. Black.
Yes. So that's it really, and I'm hoping to give fans an insight into the total thing, because you never see what you get up to traveling. I just send a few photos for Facebook and things like this, and sometimes it's just the most boring thing, and sometimes the most incredible things happen, and you meet the most incredible people with amazing stories. So you just don't know what's going to happen, and you never know. You can't predict it. You can't say, that sounds like a really interesting place, or I've never been there before, so that's something will happen, and it just won't. And somewhere you've been 100 times, it'll be like, wow, you met somebody new or something happened. And so you just don't know. It's very difficult to predict. So I'm hoping that will come over in the documentary. And I work with a lot of different musicians around the world, with different bands in South America and different countries in the US as well. So it's Canadian guys that are in the band, and they've learnt all the songs for the tour. So there'll be quite a bit of me moaning at them about getting the songs the particular way that I want them. It's not enough that they get them right. They have to get them the way I want them to be. And that can only happen when we're actually together, because these things you just don't come over on Skype. You've got to be in the room, and then they are the little touches to the show that make it the Bayley. That's why those are the little differences that make my show very personal to me and specifically for my fans. And I'm hoping to get that over as well in the documentary. So hopefully it'll be good, and afterwards people won't think, well, what an idiot that guy is, I'm not getting any more of his CDs. Hopefully they'll think, well, that's interesting, there's an independent guy living his dream, I'll support him.
And just so you know, Blaze, I already have like one or two special guests, who are in popular bands in the 80s and to today. I already guest appearing on this, but you don't know about this yet. So surprise, a lot of surprises, my friend, a lot of surprises.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
All right, so that's it. We're going to follow you around. We're going to try to capture you, like you said. We're going to try to capture behind the scenes, and we want the fans to come out because it's the fans, right? We want to include the fans in this whole journey. I mean, what they have to say about you, their favorite Wolfsbane album, maybe their favorite Iron Maiden albums, their favorite songs from your solo days. We want the fans to be included in this because I know you're an artist who, lives and breathes by his fans. So it's for everyone. All right, number 3, Trinity Tour. Geoff Tate, I interviewed last week. We talked about the Trinity Tour. We talked about the tour dates. He told me when you and Ripper came over, he said he had an amazing time with you, an amazing experience. And I asked him, what do you like about Blaze that you didn't know about before? So I'm going to ask you the same question. What did you find out about Geoff Tate and Ripper Owens after spending 3 days with them or so that you didn't know beforehand?
I knew Tim before then, and he's such a funny guy, man. He's just hilarious. I love his sense of humour, and it doesn't take much for him to absolutely have me in stitches. He's so deadpan, with things that he does. So I really enjoy working with Tim, and he's always got some amusing story. And well, with Geoff, I started listening to Queensryche, I think like a lot of people of my era did with Operation Mindcrime, and it was great to talk to him openly about some of those songs and some of those things. And I think one of the things, of course, that you never know, and it's a real privilege, is when you're close up and personal and you're driving around in a car and you're doing a bit of rehearsing and the filming, you actually get to hear the person's natural voice, 100%, no studio enhancement or tricks, and you really hear that raw talent. And it's a little tingle down the spine hearing Geoff sing, and then singing with him was amazing. And he's such a gentle person as well. He's not easy to get excited. He obviously is, but I think he's one of these still waters, run deep kind of people. And I think he's quite intense, very deep person. But I really enjoyed the experience, and we got along very well, and we had quite a few laughs along the way. So it's really good. I'm looking forward to the tour now and getting to November and being able to focus on that. And the song, when we were actually doing the video, there, of course, we're not just lip syncing, we're actually trying to sing the song and put as much into it to put the energy into the video. And there was a few times when the three of us were singing and there was a little bit of magic in the room. And I could really sense, wow, this could be something very, very special. When we sing this live, this could be very special, because the three voices, everybody is a full-on passionate singer. And I think it's going to be really good.
And by the way, note Operation Mindcrime, it was based on Montreal and written, a lot of it in Montreal. Just as a note there, very Canadian sort of story.
Nice. Didn't know that.
Let's go into the fan questions. You ready, Blaze?
Yeah.
All right. Start off with Alexi, Southern California. He wants you to go to Reseda, California. And I'll ask you the question. When do you foresee that you'll do a tour of the U.S., especially on the West Coast, to California and etc.?
Well, this is a long-term thing, so I'm hoping that it'll be in 2017, around August, something like that.
All right, I got a question from Alan. He wants to know, in the Iron Maiden years, when Run to the Hills was brought up, should we do the song or shouldn't we? What was it like? I mean, what was the discussions like in regards to, and I know it, Bruce has got a different register than you have. What was the conversation like?
Well, what I thought was, this really is Bruce's hallmark song. So on the first tour, I didn't think it would be a good idea on the first tour to do that, for me to do that song. Nothing to do with, the register or anything, just because people would have a direct comparison and go, that's Bruce's song and Blaze shouldn't be singing it. So that's what I thought on the first tour. But then on the second tour, it just never came up. So I really like that song. I've sung it a couple of times and I really enjoy doing it. And it feels like a lost opportunity to me. So on the Trinity Tour, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing my own version of Run to the Hills. Oh. So I'm really excited about that. And really, really looking forward to it. And it'll be the first time I've done it on a tour. I've sung it one or two times, literally just once or twice before in public. But I'm really looking forward to doing it on the Trinity Tour every night. And it was one of my favourite Maiden songs, one of the songs that got me into Maiden in those early years.
Rod wants to know, when you were auditioning for Iron Maiden, what songs did you sing?
There were 10 of the standard songs that were always in the set at that time. So what I can remember is Trooper, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Number of the Beast, Wrathchild, Heaven Can Wait, Fear of the Dark, The Clairvoyant. I don't know, something else, another three.
It's good. It's good.
But three that were basically, there were standards of the set that would always be in and out of the set. And of course, Iron Maiden.
Who was your competition at the time? What other singers were auditioning as well?
I don't really know most of the other singers, but I do know, because I've spoke to him afterwards and we've become friends since then, is Dougie White, who's also sang with Rainbow. So he was up for it as well.
All right. So now moving to Wolfsbane. Max wants to know, Smash and Blind Beer, is it ever coming to North America?
Well, remind me to ask the brewery. That's a great idea. So I'll try and get in touch with somebody about that. Yeah, so that sounds good. It's a good beer. Really good beer. It's something. Obviously, we're tiny compared to Iron Maiden, so it's something that they do at a certain time every year. So I'll certainly mention that. Sounds a great idea.
Roberto, he wants to know, will you include any Wolfsbane songs from the self-titled album? Or play one or two songs on your upcoming tours?
Yeah, normally I always do at least one Wolfsbane song.
All right, Thomas wants to know, favorite track off your new solo album, Infinite Entanglement?
One that always gets to me emotionally is Calling You Home. And that's one that we've included in the set on the whole tour up to now. And that's one that gets to me because I am always travelling and it's difficult to call anywhere home, really.
Sure. And on a last question by Brendan, he wants to know, and I know the answer to this, I think you've answered this before, any tracks that were written in the Iron Maiden period that appeared on your solo albums?
Yeah, but not that I actually worked with anybody else. So I had most of Born of a Stranger, but I'd worked on that on my own. And I had most of Ghost in the Machine and a lot of Stare at the Sun. And those are all songs that feature on my Silica Messiah album. So quite a few of the ideas that are on Silica Messiah were things that I was hoping to work with Steve Harris and with Dave Murray and Yannick Gers to do my third Iron Maiden album, but sadly that didn't happen. And in the end, I had my Silica Messiah album, which I'm really happy with. I mean, it's just a great album. I listen to it occasionally now when I'm getting ready to go into the studio. So I'm making sure that I'm still up to scratch. And I think, well, it's a really, really good album, and I'm really, really proud of it.
All right, so actually, there's one more question from Jay. What do you think of Iron Maiden's new album, The Book of Souls?
I've heard it, but I only heard it once, and that was in the van. So, most of it I liked, but I couldn't really get into it to give it a really objective review. But most of it I liked. I like Iron Maiden, and it's a great band, lots of great music. I love the ideas that Steve Harris has, and having worked with him closely, writing songs with him, then I just love the ideas that come out of his head. They're just fantastic. What I would say is they have a song called Speed of Light.
Yes, they do.
And I have a song called Speed of Light, but my Speed of Light came first. It was done quite a few years ago. I think about 18 years ago, something like that, or 17 years ago. And my Speed of Light is faster
and better
than the Iron Maiden Speed of Light. So that makes my Speed of Light the universal constant.
That's right. And that's pretty much it. Blaze, any last words?
Just thank you to all the fans for supporting me. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you all very soon.
And catch you next time on The Metal Voice.